Alright, what's up? Welcome to a new episode here on Slow Spin Society. I'm Paul, and today we're going to talk about the Monopole. So I've been writing this thing for about 6 months now, and I've done a couple of articles on it. And I wanted to make like an additional video to just like give you just the vibes and how does that bike feels. What is it for? Who is it for? How far can it take you? So let's get into it. If you haven't heard about the Monopole, there's been quite a lot of media covering what this mini cargo bike is. But this is a compact cargo with a 24-inch rear wheel and 20-inch front wheel, as well as this front rack that can carry up to 30 kilos. And this is my custom build. So for this build, Monopole has supplied a frame set, and this is a size large. This one has been custom painted in this silk gray color. Very fancy name, I know. And then a Pinion C112 gearbox, as well as the belt drivetrain that I wanted to pair with the belt steering system that is one of the Monopole's features. And finally, this flat rack. You have two options for the rack, flat or a one that is more like a double basket style, but I wanted the flat rack, so yeah, here we are. And the rest of the parts are basically like stuff I had lying around. The wheel set is custom built by my friend Philip out in Berlin. And you know, like, video isn't really my thing. I've tried recording this a couple of times already, but I think the way I want to do this, and the simple way for me to do this, is just going over the design features of the Monopole one by one, and just at the end telling you like pretty much what I feel and how it's been riding this bike for like half a year now. So I'll start with the drivetrain, because I think it's like one of the main points when you buy like a Monopole, either like a what they call a bio, so like a normal bike, not an electric assist Monopole, or as a frame set, you can upgrade your drivetrain to a Pinion gearbox. And there is like pros and cons about this Pinion gearbox. Mine is a C112, so 12 gears. And it's been great to me. I absolutely love it. I love the single speed kind of style that it gives to the bike. And I wanted the belt drive so for two reasons. First, as I mentioned, I wanted to pair it with like the belt steering system. But also, I wanted something that was like super reliable, low on maintenance, and that I could leave outside for a long time. I use this bike to travel quite a lot, and either it sits outside or it's at the back of my van on a bike rack. And you know, it can pour rains for days, and I needed like a drivetrain that could resist that. So of course a belt, no rust, you know, no question, no rust. But the Pinion gearbox just gives me that extra peace of mind that basically my entire gearing system is sealed from the outside elements and is pretty much bathing in oil. And so I could like leave my bike outside and there'd be like a terrible weather, and then I could literally just hop back on it with no problem whatsoever and zero maintenance ahead. The Pinion gearbox and the belt drive gives for like a very mellow shifting experience, and if you pair that with the grip shift, which honestly isn't my cup of tea, you get used to it. It doesn't mean I like it, but I also don't want to pay like an extra 400 to 500 euros to, you know, like pay for like another accessory, because some companies do make adapters to transform this like grip shift into like a trigger shifter, but they're expensive. Those kits are like super expensive. So right now I am keeping the grip shift. It's just not my favorite bit about the Pinion gearbox system. But as I was saying, it gives you like a very like mellow shifting experience. And I feel like if you're looking for something a little bit more aggressive and you're not a lazy mechanic like me, and you want something, yeah, a bit more aggressive, a little bit more dynamic, then I would go for a normal derailleur just because, you know, you can hear that cling when you like not shift under load, but you know, that satisfying cling that cassettes gives you. So yeah, I would go for a derailleur, but I do love the pinion setup because it's just, as I said so many times already, zero maintenance. So the braking setup is a combo of pole clampers, calipers, and pole love levers, and I used this combo on other bikes. I just had this setup available. It wasn't mounted on any bikes, so I decided to use it for the monopole. And as much as I like the pole clampers, I don't think they're working here, just because, you know, they have like sufficient braking power. That is not an issue. I'm also rocking like 180 millimeters front and rear rotors, but it's just the cable routing and the cable management. It is a lot. There's a lot of hard bends, and I think you'll be way better off with a hydraulic system. So I'll probably update my braking system to something hydraulic down the line. Let's talk about cable routing actually. I think the one on the Monopole is pretty easy, and the whole build-up experience, matter of fact, is pretty easy. Monopole is a company from Switzerland, and they manufacture their bike in France, in the French Pyrenees, and I went directly there just to, you know, document the people that were building this frame, because this is a handmade frame in France, which is like pretty incredible. It took me like most of the day to build this on my own. I have mechanic experience, but I'm not the best one out there. I'm also like, I always wanted to stay away from like complex stuff. But building the bike, the pinion gearbox, the belt drive, the grip shift, and the cable routing, it wasn't that complex really. So yeah, it is definitely a bike that I can feel I can maintain on my own and, you know, do maintenance on it by myself. It's not something that I need to take to a mechanic. So yeah, that's, I guess, a good additional point. So I can go like this for a while into like the many features of the Monopole, you know, like the fact that the front triangle is in fact a rectangle, and it'd be a perfect place to put a custom frame bag and to put a laptop, but that would be me going on like yet another tangent. I think what we need to really talk about here is the concept of a mini cargo is to have a cargo bike with a shorter wheelbase, and the Monopole does this really well. In fact, the fact that it has a shorter wheelbase to me opens way more door than a normal cargo, because yes, it closes the door, the hypothetical door that you cannot carry as much as a normal cargo. But on the other side, you know, you can put this in an elevator. You can carry this up the stairs. Mine is 20 kilos, and, you know, I've been able to like take it a few flights of stairs without absolutely wrecking the walls of the staircase with my tires, you know, tire marks and everything. You can put it in a train. This is the length of like a normal bike, so it has no problem fitting in a train, at least in the local trains I took in France and in the Netherlands. But the short wheelbase is also awesome because it creates like a very nimble and fun bike to ride, but also somehow like very easy to ride. So of course I rode it, but like members of my family that never rode a cargo bike before also rode it. Friends rode it and immediately understood why I had so much fun riding it. And to make like some sort of weird parallel, but I rode quite a lot of BMX this summer, and this is in the same line, you know. It's like, it's very easy to like weave through traffic and like be a little bit cutty if you want, but yeah, it's just a very fun and easy bike to ride. You know, it existed in 3 sizes, but I could totally see myself sharing this with a couple of people with like a dropper sit post or whatever. So yeah, good bike. So when I first started to talk with Monopole about what we were gonna do and like the suits of article I was gonna create for them for this bike. I had one concept that I really wanted to do. So hear me out. You spend your whole week just like commuting with your monopole. So for me, I would like have my laptop and a bunch of stuff into a backpack that I would put on the front. And this summer was great because first, I didn't have a sweaty back, and second, I just find it extremely freeing to ride with your upper body like completely free of any weight, no camera, no backpack, nothing. So I had it on the front, right? And then on Friday night, I would just like drop basically my work bag and strap on to the monopole my other bag that was already with, you know, like a tent or a hammock, a mattress, a sleeping bag, and a bunch of camping stuff, and roll the monopole onto a train to the countryside, spend a weekend bike packing, and come back Sunday night. It was just as easy as this. To cut it straight to the chase, I think the monopole really shines for like short commute, short bursts of energy from A to B in the city. It is a great tool, but what I've learned with my experience with the monopole is that it's a bit more than a tool than I thought, because I found myself riding this empty, riding it to the coffee shop, just riding it for pleasure, not only to carry stuff. And going on adventures with it, commuting with it, taught me that, oh, this is actually quite a fun bike to use, and I think I want to ride this more than some of my other bikes. Rather than just the cargo bike in my bike lineup, it kind of took the place of like a cargo cruiser or just a cruiser, something that I would take into town or even take on holidays just to cruise around and have something like practical and, you know, easy to carry. Now, we need to talk about the price, right? So, my main subject to compare the monopole was the Omnium Minimax, because this is probably the most popular compact cargo out there right now. So, a complete Minimax directly from Omnium comes at 3,180 euros, with a titanium version starting at 5,060 euros. The monopole without a pinion gearbox with a normal drivetrain comes complete at 4,780 euros. That pinion gearbox is 1,000 euros more. Is it worth it? To me, it is, yes, in certain situation, but I think the monopole is worth it just for like the fun factor, just the visual balance, because it's a good looking bike, and of course like the uniqueness of it. I mean, having like a bike that is handmade in France and a cargo on top of this is pretty cool. That's pretty much my vibe on the Monopole Mini Cargo. If you want more details, you can check out like the articles that I did on it. There will be a link into this video description. But yes, that's going to be pretty much it for me. If you have questions, just drop them into the comments. I read everything, so I'll answer. And I will see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye bye.